Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Poppy Playtime theory video, and as you can more likely tell from the title, in today's video we're going to be theorising about the possibility of seeing Huggy Wuggy again, and if he did survive. Oh, and of course this video is going to contain spoilers for Poppy Playtime Chapter 1, so you have been warned, and also an additional warning, my throat's still quite acting up, so if at any point in the video my audio goes a bit naff and my voice does, you know why. And a quick reminder, if you want to support the channel and help its growth, make sure you hit subscribe. I'm a one-man band, and I believe me, it really goes a long way, and I massively appreciate it. But with that being said, let's get into the theory video. So let's first recap a little bit about Huggy Wuggy and what we actually know about him. So Huggy Wuggy is one of the main mascots for Playtime Co. He is based off their best-selling toy Huggy Wuggy, which was a huge success in the market, as one of their features of Huggy Wuggy was to hug children, and with that he sold very well. But this wasn't enough for the R&D development team at Playtime Co. They wanted more. So they began the creation of the prototype, Experiment 1006, and this is the Huggy Wuggy that we see in Chapter 1. At first, Huggy Wuggy seems like a normal attraction in the level, but after activating the power, that's when we see the result of the experiment, and he begins his monstrous behaviour. So how are we so sure Huggy Wuggy is dead? What happened to him? Well, of course we all know the answer to that, unless you haven't played the game, or at least watch a Let's Play on it for everyone who plays on consoles. So, Huggy Wuggy meets his fate when the player exits the vents after quite a scary chase. Once the player is out of the vents, a door shuts behind you, trapping Huggy Wuggy for a few seconds, and in this time, you only have those few seconds before he breaks through and hugs you for the last time, never letting go. In an effort to avoid this fate for ourselves, we need to pull down the crate and damage the catwalk. Sure enough, when the crate begins to fall, Huggy Wuggy breaks through the vent and pushes towards us, only for the crate to fall in the right time in the right spot in the catwalk, and thus sends Huggy Wuggy with it. As you and Huggy Wuggy fall from the catwalk to the catwalk beneath you, Huggy Wuggy lands in such a way that damages him, and after this he falls again into a pipe where he leaves another bloody stain, and thus we're made to believe that he is dead. But with that being said, I've done some theorising, and I think it's time to put my theory in action. And I do believe that we could actually put up a good argument for why Huggy Wuggy could still be alive, and could still be a threat to us in Poppy Playtime Chapter 2, or sometime in the future. So let me get right into it. I'll begin with somewhat the most obvious side of this theory, and that's of course the fact Huggy Wuggy is in fact an experiment. And like we've said before, he is Experiment 1006. But why is this in particular an obvious bit of evidence? It would be safe to assume that the researchers and scientists and the team that worked on these creatures have a documented log and findings, even if they have at some point been killed. And somewhere within the facility of Playtime Co, there is like a recipe book, if you will, for constructing the next Huggy Wuggy, or for the Huggy Wuggies that are waiting to be released. We could even say that because he was Experiment 1006, there could have been even 5 that came before him. As a community, we're not actually 100% if the 1006 to 1000 is just the Huggy Wuggy types, because as we know, there is a female Huggy Wuggy. Now, what's not stopping her being 1004, 5, you know? This could just be the branch of this particular experiment with Huggy Wuggies, but they varied it in different models or whatnot. But anyway, I digress. It's safe to say they have the building blocks to make Huggy Wuggy, or create him again, and if it's already happening, we don't know if they're lurking around the Playtime Co facility, just perhaps they're a little bit deeper in the facility. So one daunting thought could be, well, that Huggy Wuggy's dead, but there's 5 more downstairs. Another reason is that we don't actually know what happened to Huggy Wuggy. Yes, we saw him hit the catwalk and the pipes rather hard and lose blood, but we'll touch upon that in a second. But all we know is that he was just injured, or at least knocked out, because he doesn't blink, he doesn't close his eyes, and we can't confirm that. So perhaps it's safe to assume that he just got hit rather badly and rendered him rather stunned, if we will. But that's the only time we see any sort of impact. So after this, we see Huggy Wuggy fall into fog, And who knows what happened. One small thing I would like to point out is that yes, the way he landed could have knocked him out, but the way he also lay on the railing surely would have snapped his spine. And that's a good point, and I pondered on this one. But in reality, we actually don't know how the body of Huggy Wuggy works. Perhaps he doesn't even need a spine. In reality, we would have to get a good look inside of him to determine this. And of course, as we've done before in previous videos, we've actually looked inside Huggy Wuggy before, and we know that inside Huggy Wuggy there is just an empty mesh. Okay, so let's go back and let's talk about the elephant in the room, the blood. Now, this part of the theory I find most interesting. I think it's safe to say that we all were a little bit surprised at the fact Huggy Wuggy could bleed. And surely that leads us to side more with the fact he died on his fall, and that there is someone inside him. But if you remember in the official game trailer, it reveals in the text that Huggy Wuggy has a digestive system. And that same trailer also confirms the fact it's made up of organic nature, and that despite having this system, he does not require substance to keep going. So while he has the tools to be alive, he doesn't use it. But what does that mean then? Well, I theorise that this is exactly where the blood is coming from, and I believe that the developers are trying to trick us into believing that this is the end for Huggy Wuggy, because even if Huggy was to damage his digestive system to the point where it's bleeding and bleeding out of him, it doesn't matter. Huggy Wuggy, as we know from the trailer, doesn't rely on it. It's not an important part of his function, it's not needed for his daily activities. But that did get me thinking more about Huggy Wuggy and how he is created. And I think this is a massive suggestion to the idea that some human has to be sacrificed, that some human has to have parts of them inputted in a toy to make it more alive, or the merging of a human and toy. But I'll discuss that in another video. As you can imagine, this has opened up quite a can of worms for me, especially a theory channel. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think of this theory video, and let me know what you think about Huggy Wuggy and his death scene, if you will. I do think that this bit of information has been missed, and I think actually putting it together, it makes a lot of sense, and again, like I said earlier, opens up to a lot more theory crafting and possibilities. And you know what, thinking about how they're made is quite an interesting part of the game, and that coincides with some of the hidden levels and stuff, really goes hand in hand. So again, I'll be making a video about that shortly, but we have a few more videos coming out before then. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comments below. I would really like to hear what you have to say about this, because again, I thought this was a really interesting find. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a lovely morning, day or night wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and remember, if you want to support the channel, make sure to hit subscribe, like and comment, do all the YouTube stuff. It really helps me, and again, anything to help is always a plus. But with that being said, I really appreciate you. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next theory video.